what's up, guys? Welcome to Cooksey and the Coach. I apologize. Kenny had an obligation today, and Coach Rob's off in Europe. So, hey, we're flying solo. We're going to talk about Hangtown and the National that happened out there yesterday. First off, I got to start with the elephant, the gorilla, the gigantic thing in the room that has it drove me nuts. I know it drove a lot of you guys nuts. MAVTV. First off, I'm going to start with the first motos. For me, it didn't crash. It was really good. No commercials. JT Money was perfect. Brock Glover was amazing. Wygant absolutely crushes it in that position as, the lead guy. I mean, you could bring in Santa Claus, and I think we each could make him sound good. From that point, it was awesome. Where it got bad was second moto. Second moto, I'm not sure who decided to, but in the middle of the 250 moto, so I pay for the app. I'm not supposed to get commercials. I got commercials. Okay, disappointed, but I can live with that. Second 450 moto, crash, shuts off. I think it's my Wi-Fi. I reset everything, do it, get it going. I miss a whole bunch of stuff, come back, boom, crashes again. 3 times in the last 450 moto, and I know I'm not the only one. Now, in this day and age, it's frustrating that this is happening at the highest level of our sport, which makes me wonder, is this the highest level of the sport? Is MXGP higher? Probably. But yeah, so the whole reason that we're on MAVTV, it's a bullshit reason. Let me just break it down for you. So MX Sports and Lucas Oil have a major partnership. Lucas Oil owns MAVTV. MAVTV is a startup channel, and they want to make it motorsports, which is great. That's awesome. But it sounds like they bit off more than they could chew. And now the way this sport is built on bring your team. We don't pay your riders. Not one rider makes their living from purse payout or ticket sales or even app purchases. The riders don't see any of that money. That's not to them, that's not to the teams, that's all to the promoters. That's MX Sports that pretty much collects all that. All those sponsor banners you see, other than the one sponsor that goes to the track, they can do a title sponsor for their event. That's the only sponsor that the track actually collects. The rest of it all goes to MX Sports. They had to pay a significant fee to NBC to run these nationals, to put them on their channel. I don't know the number exactly, but it was pretty significant. But they had some sponsors that they ran the commercials, were able to offset that and turn it into a small profit. So they're still making a lot of money. But when they partner with MAV, that gigantic fee from NBC goes away. And I'm assuming, I don't know, I haven't seen the contracts on this one, but it has to be more profitable for the promoters. I don't see how it couldn't be. And they're selling, their memberships at $5.99 a month or $100 yearly fee, which is fine if it worked. If the UFC did this and it didn't work, you'd get your money back. I don't see anyone offering refunds. So got some work to do. And it was funny too, because they thought they were going to collect a whole bunch more money and just pay less. Well, as soon as Red Bull found out, wait a second, you're not even on NBC, they pulled their sponsorship. That was a breach of contract, and they're like, no, we signed up to be on NBC. We didn't sign up to be on MAVTV. So clearly Red Bull had a hint of maybe some of the shitstorm coming. Monster jumped in. I'm sure they got a huge discount compared to what Red Bull was paying, but they did step in, so they kind of filled that gap a little bit. But this is not good. This is not good for the sport. This is not good for the people in it. And that brings me to where people say, oh, the sport is what it is. We should just be happy to get it. It's a niche sport, and we love it. If you call this a niche sport, I'm sorry. That's just lazy. Absolute lazy. I can show you many other sports that are far less exciting, that less people play, that get more views because they tell stories, because they present it in a way that doesn't look like an infomercial, because they focus on it. In fact, watch when World Supercross comes out. I listened to the Gypsy Tales podcast with Adam Bailey and his partner. It's amazing. You guys got to listen to it. The things they've got coming are going to change and revolutionize this sport. Niche no longer. Those of you that just say it's a niche sport, that's just like a fat guy saying I got bad genetics while he eats a bacon cheeseburger on the couch. It doesn't work for me. It's only niche because nobody's taken it out of the niche and presented it in a way that the modern person can understand. Everybody rides bicycles. Everybody can understand. If you show people the athleticism, the heartache, I mean, the second moto, I think it was Swap Moto, did an interview with Joey Savacci after that second moto. He looks like he stood in front of a firing line of paintballs with no shirt on. You're trying to tell me you can't sell this story and how badass these guys are? And this is 4 months after him recovering from an ACL tear. ACL tears take out guys for whole seasons in other sports, and he's back in 4 months competing on the highest level and getting a top 10. Damn, that's pretty impressive. But yeah, MAVTV, you've got to get it together. And something like this on a sport built. Now, so if this whole thing paid back and the teams got part of the MAV money and part of the ticket money and stuff like that, I wouldn't be nearly as worried about it. But the fact that they race solely on sponsor money, and sponsor money comes from views. And guess what? When all us viewers are pissed because it keeps crashing, that sponsor money is going to disappear really fast. So I strongly recommend they figure out what the hell, buy a bigger server, buy more IT people, whatever you got to do. I would hit the panic button right now. Meanwhile, on the bright side, World Supercross is going, hey guys, we'll wait till you see what we got coming. We're going to make this look silly, which anyone, at this point, it's not going to take a whole lot to make this series look silly. But yeah, that's the house of cards this thing's built on, and yeah, it's not niche. If anyone tells me it's niche, I'm going to lose my mind. Get off your couch with your cheeseburger and your lazy ass. It's not niche. Look at the package on it. That's why it's niche. Okay, into the racing. Dude, how badass is El Hombre? And I love how Brock Glover called him a shredder. Like the guys out on the board that just rip it. Like, that's a perfect description of Jason Anderson. I mean, he's literally a shredder. I mean, and he's got his cardio. You know, he's team fried, so he kind of has that laid back attitude. But that dude is anything but laid back. He is a complete savage out there. Like, he chased down Sexton, passed him, put a little gap on him, and then Sexton, holy crap, this guy may be the fittest dude on the planet. After these motos, he doesn't even look tired. Like, he's not even breathing hard. I feel like this dude could go for 2 hours. Yeah, it's ridiculous. And I do not care about performance-enhancing drugs in this sport because they don't get paid. There's no way to accurately test everybody fairly. So, yeah, I don't care. But I'll tell you what, they have a thing called the eye test where you look at guys and you go, oh boy, what's he on? My eyes tell me Chase Sexton's not human or not normal. If I'm USADA and it was my series and it was my job to test people, he'd be getting the first test. But either way, like I said, I don't give a shit. I do not care if these guys, at this point, if they're going to let you use it. I would use so much shit. My PD bill would be as much as my bike bill at the end of the month. It's just as important. And if you're not going to get tested or checked, go for it. Why not? Just make sure you go to a doctor so you don't have a heart attack or something. But yeah, it's pretty fun watching these guys that have cardio at the end of the moto. It always makes for a good race because they don't give up. And like I said, I don't know. That's 1,000% speculation on my part. This is just me using the eye test. My eyes sometimes lie to me, but I would check these guys. Tomac is he back? I don't know. It's like he did this a little bit last year. Remember the second moto thing or a couple of years ago? Like, he would just bomb the first moto and then kind of, as the track gets torn up, he kind of comes around. He didn't go beast mode. Sexton was there all the way till the end. Sexton's just not going to give up. Like, that's just all there is to it. This dude is so tough. I feel like Chase Sexton would run over his grandma if she was in the way. Like, he's such a badass, and his technique is just perfect. but is he going to implode? He's shown that he did it in Supercross, but he seems to be holding it together. But that's only 2 rounds. We got 10 more to go. Yeah, Tomac, that knee. He said I listened to an interview after the race, and he said his knee is good, but he still can't grip the bike like he wants to, which scares me a little bit, and that should scare all the Eli Tomac fans. If it doesn't get better, he's gonna have Colorado next week. Then they got a week off. If this thing doesn't keep improving or he twists it again, it could be bad. So we're still kind of on thin ice with Tomac. I wouldn't stamp him back and say, yeah, he's there, but it looks good. Ken Roczen. Oh, Ken looks good. God, I don't even care that he's getting thirds and fourths. He looks like he's having a good time. This is the first time I've seen him look like he's happy out there in a long time. He doesn't look like a guy who's frustrated. He looks like a guy who's finding his legs. He knows he doesn't have the same cardio as, say, a Chase Sexton or Jason Anderson, but he's gapping them early. He's putting the pressure on. He's fighting, and he looks to be enjoying racing. That's all I can ask, and I hope he gets a ride for next year. Team would be crazy if they had the opportunity. I would assume he's going to have to take a big pay cut, but if he's willing to do it, shit, hire him. You know, why not? Christian Craig wasn't as good as Paula, but Paula's his track. Like, he almost won that on the Honda. Remember when Sexton got his first win on Honda at Paula, and he actually passed Christian with a couple laps to go for the lead. Christian got second in the moto, and it took him, like, he went from winning the overall to clear off the podium. That's where it did to him then. But he's good at Paula. My question was, could he bring it to the rest of the rounds? Looks like he can. He's going to have some good finishes, and he's building off of it. And what a great way to enter the 450 full time. Dungey. Oh man, looks like a guy who's going, yeah, that KTM that I thought was the best bike in the world and told everyone was so much better than the last one I rode. Maybe it's not quite as good as I thought. He just didn't have the speed. I mean, he's in shape. He's the Dunge. He's so consistent. He just didn't have enough speed to keep it going. These guys just outrode him. When he gets back east, can he build off of it? He's got to get through Colorado with some pretty good finishes. But if he has many more this far back, we can just write him off as championship, which, I mean, honestly, who really thought he was going to win the championship? Nobody, but it's just that storybook. We still look at it and say, hey, could he win it? Yes, no. Yes, absolutely he could, but it's looking less likely after week 2. But you're only as good as your last race, and things change. Cairoli. Yeah, he looks definitely like a guy who was retired for 6 months. He's a 9-time champion, so he can come out and run with the best in the world. That was so cool in the second moto, how he just threw a whip right in front of Roczen. Somebody asked him about it later. I think it was Swap Moto said, he said he wanted to get a good picture because he knew Roczen was right there, and he threw a good whip right in front of him just so he could have a good picture for his office at home or something crazy like that. But that's just a guy playing around. He signed up for 2 more rounds, so he's going to do Colorado and High Point, and we'll see where he's at. If he gets his cardio and gets comfortable on that bike, he may stick around. He may ride off into the sunset. He's earned that right. So good for Cairoli. Plessinger. Oh boy. Okay. Good thing he has a 2-year deal, because if he had a 1-year deal, we might be the end of Aaron Plessinger. I know he's coming back from that broken arm, but you just can't be on the team where Roger DeCoster's the manager. He's not a nice guy if you don't get results. Like, he's really not. He doesn't like to work with guys. He likes to say, we need to be better, or you get fired, we'll hire someone else. Like, he just doesn't care. And you have to know that when you sign with KTM and go under Roger DeCoster. That's just the way it is. And injury, no injury, you can't make excuses with Roger. He'll just say, deal with it. If you're good enough to race, you're good enough to win. That's just where he's at. Maybe Plessinger should have sat out a little bit longer, got a little bit better. I'm not sure, but it's going to be a make or break season for him next year. Joey Savacci. Whew, he looked really good considering this guy's 4 months off of a ACL injury. And, 2 really abysmal years before that. He ran out there, ran up front. He was battling. He looked good. Like, he's a guy right now. I think he's going to get up there, and if there's somebody that actually really deserves another shot, it's Joey Savacci. I don't know where he'll end up or if he'll get a ride for 23, but if I was a team, I'd take a shot on him. I wish Kawasaki could find a way to put him in there. You know, they already got Cincerillo, Anderson. You know, if they could just put, gosh, I wish these teams did 3 bikes. So, yeah. Justin Barcia, I don't know what happened. That wasn't good. I expected a heck of a lot more from him. He's a far better outdoor rider than what he showed. So we'll just have to see. I don't think we're going to see that very often. He just had some crashes and bad starts, and just one of those days for Barcia. I was extremely disappointed for Josh Gilbert. Josh Gilbert was the rider that had us all asking, who's that guy after Paula? The British rider who is riding for Munn Racing, Ricky Renner and all those boys over there. And they have that bike dialed. They had him going good. His teammate is supposed to be Yevgeny Babrachev, but we all know the story there. Politics kept him out of it. But yeah, big disappointment as he swapped down that hill and had a nasty crash. I haven't heard exactly how bad he's hurt. Yeah, I hope he's okay. We'll find out later this week. Shout out to Dominic DeSimone, the Las Vegas rider. Okay, so this guy used to ride at Sandy Valley back in the day with me. He's been around forever. He's over 30. He just busts out nationals and just qualifies. Like, this kid is so talented. I wish he would have got on it a little bit earlier. He might have been able to really do something because he's so talented. I think he's got to be closer to 35 now. But he just shows up, races, makes a national. Don't hear anything from him, and he just practices and then just decides to ride a national and qualifies. Like, that's Dominic D. Way to go, Dominic Simone. On to the 250 class. Okay, Jett Lawrence was extremely sick. But this is what champions do. Champions tough it out. And it's scary that sick, he still ended up with the win, the overall win. If you don't think he's a generational talent before that, you have to now. Like, this is what the best in the world do. RC, Bubba, Tomac, well, maybe not Tomac, but RC, Bubba, Hannah, Wardy, all these tough as nails riders, they just ride through whatever to make it happen. And clearly that's what Jett did. Justin Cooper, he's also a complete badass. He came in after that foot that looked like something from Hellraiser. That was a bad injury, and I talked to one of my good friends, Jameson Norda, is a podiatrist. He told me he didn't think he'd race all year. He said that's a bad break, the one that he had. It's hard to get blood flow to it, and he said those are for athletes. Those are almost kisses of death. The break that J. Coop had. So seeing him go out there, regain his speed, battle up front, looks good. He's going to win some races. I think he's a little too far behind Jett, and I don't know that he's going to be a championship guy, but he's definitely good enough he'll definitely be respectful all summer and get some. He's going to get a couple wins. There's just no way around it. I say that, but you never know. It's racing. Hunter, oh man, he has got to be kicking himself. Golden opportunity to make up some points on his brother, and he stuffs the front end and crashes. Oh, Hunter, you had it. But that's racing. You know, those tracks are so nasty. Those ruts are so deep. One tiny mistake and you're on the ground. That's why they're the best in the world. Joe Shimoda, same thing. He had that second moto and he did the exact same thing as Hunter and just stuffed it. Or he said he actually hit neutral and then when it stalled he fell. But either way, it's just a bummer. Michael Mosman, another guy, hometown guy. I picked him to win. I really thought I was looking good after that first moto. He smashed everybody. And then the second moto, he was looking really good. He was like fourth. I didn't see the crash. I'm sure it'll pop up on Instagram somewhere. Somebody got it. It was, I don't know what happened, but he had to hit hard. That poor bike was just smashed. And these aren't handlebars from the 80s and 90s when they just folded. These handlebars today, like you have to hit so hard to bend them that far. Clearly the dude's made out of Gumby because he was fine, or somewhat fine. But yeah, he says he likes Colorado and he'll be back. Max Boland, he is getting stronger and stronger. This kid needed this so bad. He has been vilified, absolutely vilified, for his results at KTM, being the only KTM 250 guy factory. So love seeing him get 5th, and just he's getting better and better. And it's funny because if he comes out and gets 3rd at the first round and then 6th, 7th, and go, as long as you're going the right direction, nobody cares. It's when you go backwards when these teams get really pissed off. So good for Voland. Levi Kitchen, he's for real. He's not a big fan of the California tracks, but he's up there, 6'6". I think it was 6 overall. You know, and then he's gonna. I'm telling you, this guy's gonna get podiums. He's gonna make some noise. He's for real. Levi Kitchen or Seth Hamaker, dude, he is probably gets the most improved outdoors. Like, he had a hard time. He had Epstein-Barr. I didn't think he was gonna be able to finish much. Looks pretty good. He's considerably improved. Same with Styles Robertson. Styles Robertson, that technique is so good. Yeah, he's a badass. And I looked, God, this 250 class is deep. I mean, 3rd to about, I don't know, 14th, just a fraction of a second. It's not much. Bummer of the day. Jalek Swoll, complete badass. I mean, when other riders are opting out for surgeries, when they may or may not need to have it cleaned up right now, they could tough it out. This kid smashes himself at Paula. Rehabs all week, comes out, battles up front all first moto. He had a crash, pulled out of the second moto. I hope he's okay. But man, he gets the badass award, the he has heart award. And honestly, in sections, you know, situations like that, if I'm on his team, I probably encourage him to at least sit. I would have probably said, don't race Hangtown. Do the physical therapy, get close. Just wait 1 week. But, I mean, in all reality, it's not like he's going to battle for this championship because he already missed Paula. Once you miss Paula in this deep of a field, championship's really out of the question. So points is not that big of an issue. Good performances are. We got Colorado next weekend. And I don't know, after crashing the second moto, I would sit him out. Because if you sit him out of Colorado, then you got an extra week off. So that's 2 weeks off. And then we go to High Point, where he's really good. And he won that race last year. So that's what I would do with Jalek Swoll. Yeah, next up is Lakewood. And yeah, so we'll go from there. If you guys want merch, I'll put a link into the bio. Remember, subscribe to this channel, please. Subscribe, subscribe, subscribe. I'll keep bringing you content, and we'll grow this bad boy. So thanks, guys. You have a good day.